Hello and thanks for watching and happy 2018. I wanted to provide some feedback from the JPM Healthcare Conference, of which I attended last week, as well as CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, which I also attended, which was in Las Vegas, of course. As for the JPM Healthcare Conference, I thought it was very well attended. There's a lot of buzz in the air as it relates to acquisitions in the space, in the biotech space. One name in particular that stood out to me was Exact Sciences, which is ticker EXAS. That's Ernie X-Ray Apple Sam. They recently just raised $500 million, and in their corporate presentation, they were talking about being very active on the M&A side, and specifically in the medical diagnostic space. So one of the names you might want to consider as it relates to a prospective acquisition is Biotime, which has some exposure in the medical diagnostic space. It's a pluripotent stem cell company, but also has a number of areas of which, it's multifaceted, I guess is a better way to describe it. And it has some exposure in the medical diagnostic space with a company that it owns. So just a name to put up there. Also, SylvaCap is a name you might want to consider, especially in the biodefense area, which was definitely a hot topic. I put some stuff up on Twitter about SylvaCap, but another name where I think you could see some activity, Mallinckrodt made an acquisition of a company that it's working on inflammation, and SylvaCap has some products, or a product that's working on as it relates to inflammation. So another name to be cognizant of. Mavvax is another name that came up. They just put out an update to shareholders wherein they spoke about how Greenhill is getting some success, Greenhill being their advisory partner, wherein they're getting some success as it relates to some partnership or collaborative opportunities. So that's pretty exciting to see that. And also there's a number of other names I could get into, but those three are names that definitely stood out on the trip. Another thing that stood out was cannabis, where cannabis was actively being spoken about in the life science segment. I'm sure many of you are familiar with GW Pharma, which is ticker GWPH, a name that I believe is a mini GW Pharma, or should be actually a mega GW Pharma, be bigger than GW Pharma based on what they have, is GB Sciences. Their ticker is George Boy Larry X-Ray. So that was a name that definitely people were excited about, specifically their tissue propagation technology, wherein they can take cannabis strains and McDonaldize the cannabis strains. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a Charlotte's Web strain that you bought in Seattle and it's phenomenal. You want to ensure that that strain is the exact same strain, throughout the United States or wherever. And GB Sciences has the ability to McDonaldize a strain, meaning that you'll have the same experience that you had in Seattle as you had in, Iowa or wherever it may be across the country, around the world, because they can replicate the plant and the effect that the plant had with their tissue propagation technology, which is very cool. Switching gears here now over to CES. One of the cool things I saw for CES was this gigantic motorcade when I came out of the airport, which was for Bill Gates. Apparently, he has some kind of relationship with Highway Patrol, because there were about 10 Highway Patrol cars that escorted him, I believe, to the Four Seasons, which was kind of cool to see. But the conference was an absolute circus. They lost power, which was kind of crazy. I wasn't in the building that lost power, but power was lost, which is kind of funny, seeing a bunch of people on tech gadgets without any kind of power. But it was, like I said, very well attended. A lot of AI stuff came up at the conference, artificial intelligence. Another thing that came up was blockchain. So a lot of big data companies were there. I mean, consumer electronics shows more so devices like televisions and smart gadgets and things like that. But around the conference, there's a lot of other tech, a lot of tech pieces that people were speaking about, and artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency were definitely two topics that people were speaking a lot about. One area that we speak about in terms of big data is in Pixon, which has had an incredible move just over the last week or so. That's ticker INPX. It's moved from about 20 cents or so up to about 50 cents just in the last, like I said, a little over a week of trading, which has been very exciting. They announced that they're going to be initiating some blockchain technology. And then Riot is the name, RIOT. It's been hit heavy by a lot of short selling. I think it's a little overdone here. Now the stock trades around $18 after today, where it lost some momentum, and I would look at that as a name that you might want to consider in the blockchain space. It's a pure play blockchain company on the NASDAQ and the only one that trades on the NASDAQ. They've made some pretty significant acquisitions in the blockchain space, and hope to see some additional news and some language or discussion about their plans for 2018, but definitely a name I'm excited about. Some other things from CES that were kind of cool to see is some of the new televisions that are going to be coming out, embedded with some of the quantum materials, specifically quantum dots. And there's a company called Quantum Materials QTMM. That's a company that we write about and have had some information out on our website about. So that's embedded in some of these televisions. So you're starting to see brighter colors on these televisions and a clearer picture, which is definitely a lot of fun to see. And also some of the gadgets were just unbelievable. I think the one that stood out and is getting the most buzz is the robot stripper, which the person who built this thing, the intention was not to have it be a dancing stripper-like robot. It was more of a, I guess, artistic piece, but it was kind of an interesting thing to see. It's, I guess, people are into what they're into. But that's it for as far as, the update from last week. As it relates to this week, we saw a sell-off on the markets today. And I'm not really putting a lot of weight into this sell-off. I still think that there's plenty of room to go in this bull market. With that said, if I don't see support at certain areas on the S&P, just within kind of a 5% range, if it breaks below the 5% range, then I think we're going to have some trouble and we could see a long-term bear market, but I don't foresee that happening. I'm buying on any dips here, especially in the biotech space, which was hit hard today. And as I mentioned, the crypto space, which was hit hard with some misinformation. And to be clear, South Korea is talking about getting rid of some of the people in the cryptocurrency trading market who are selling cryptocurrencies at a premium versus what the face value of the cryptocurrency is. So for example, if Bitcoin's trading at $16,000 per Bitcoin, they're selling the Bitcoin for $17,000 or some kind of markup, which South Korea is trying to get rid of, which makes a lot of sense. So they're not trying to get rid of Bitcoin altogether, or cryptocurrency altogether, I should say. It's just they're trying to get rid of, some of the charlatans in the space that are trying to, gouge customers. So anyways, that's the update for today. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It's January 16th today, and look forward to providing you another update next week. And we're looking forward to launching some other content that we're going to be adding to the website here over the coming weeks. So thank you for tuning in, and wishing you a healthy and prosperous 2018. This is Ross Silver signing out. Thank you.